Hey guys, it's Lana. This is from Corporate to Crystals, and we're back for another video. So today we're going to be talking about spiritual surrender. And first of all, it's so hard to surrender at certain times of your journey, especially on the twin flame journey. Um, but I think it's really important for people to kind of like have some things to go off of, because I remember I would think I was surrendered and then all of a sudden something would happen. I'd be like, oh girl, we were not surrendered at all. Um, so I just wanted to kind of like put this video out there. I'm sending you tons of love. If any of these like trigger you in any way, just know that it's simply to help you get to surrender by learning from the mistakes that I made, because I went through a bunch of surrender cycles that I'd like to shave some of those cycles off for you if possible. So to start, let's talk about a definition of surrender or spiritual surrender. I liked this one. Of course, there's a bunch of them, but this one is, it's letting go of your own effortful attempts at control over your life. That seems easy enough, right? It's not, and I know that because I struggled with it a lot. And maybe you guys don't struggle with it as much, but I'm pretty sure we all do, right? Our world, we would love control over it, even if it's not physical control, mental control, right? The reason we're all in our head and stuck in our head so much is because we're trying to predict what could happen so that we have preparation, right? So that in itself is a form of control, is not trusting that in the present moment you would be able to handle any of the potentialities that come your way. So you try to control it by looking into the future and forcing potentialities, or living in the past and just being stuck there so you don't even have to like think about, what's next. These are actually all forms of different types of control, whether it be mental or physical. So yeah, we all do this and it's super normal. And so if you're in this stage where you're like figuring out how to deepen into surrender, be gentle with yourself. Based on my experience, you go in and you go out of surrender throughout your twin flame journey or anyone's awakening journey. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys kind of like some reassurance and also some tips to know when you're not surrendered, so you can kind of like get yourself back on track. Because there are definitely some times where I felt like I was surrendered and then something would happen. I'd be like, crap, okay, I guess I wasn't. So yeah, the other thing that I wanted to say that was on this kind of like definition, it specifically says that states of indecision are recognized as agony. Okay, so in this specific example, indecision meaning like overthinking, the inability to kind of like stay present, right? That actually perpetuates our pain in a lot of ways. So that's why surrender is so important on spiritual paths, because if you are stuck in your head, then you are actually creating your own agony, because you're actually creating your own chaos and distractions and confusion by trying to think your way through it. So that's why they say get to the present moment, because the present moment, you're not in the past and you're not worried about the future. You're just being, and that being is true surrender to that moment. And that will help you kind of relax into it and guide yourself through and trust yourself. But be gentle with yourself because it is a process. So yeah, I wanted to give, these are 10 examples, 10 things that indicate that you're not surrendered. Okay, I felt like that would be helpful, because I feel like if you're in one of these, then it will trigger the thought for you to be like, okay, I need to kind of like get back into it and surrender. And again, before I even give this list, you will cycle in and out of these, and it's very normal. So just use this as like a guidepost to help you keep redirecting and course correcting yourself back into a deeper level of surrender. Things will happen on your journey that you'll be in surrender, and then all of a sudden you get hit with something and it throws you out. And then you have to constantly be working on your spiritual practice to get yourself back to a surrendered state. I'm working through that right now, so I felt like this is relevant. So let's get into it. Okay, so number one, if you're still asking about a relationship with your twin, which the relationship with your twin is a condition, right? And this whole path is about unconditional love. So if you're still asking about a relationship with your twin, you're not surrendered. That is number one. Number two, if you think you know anything about this journey and where you're headed on it as a fact or a truth, then you are not surrendered. That one was hard for me for a long time. But yeah, if you think about it, we all have unique journeys. We all are learning from one another, learning with one another. Nothing is the truth. We are all small pieces of the truth, creating a collective truth over our experiences. Therefore, if you think you are positive about something as the truth or fact, that's actually an attachment to whatever it is that you view as fact or truth. Stay in your own truth and be open to the fact that others, including yourself, might navigate on a different path that doesn't align with that truth. And it's totally okay. It's very, very normal. Okay, so that's number two. Number three, if you are watching energy readings or tarot readings, then you are definitely not surrendered. This, I feel like a lot of us do this at certain parts of our journey, but tarot and energy readings are essentially a form of control. We try to watch these things to give us information so that we can then predict the future or be ready for the future or whatever, right? So these are all forms of control. And so that means you're not surrendered if you're doing those. So gently peel away. A lot of people actually can create addictions to these things. And if that's where you're at, it's totally okay. But you have to have some self-discipline and you need to peel yourself out of that. Because that means you have a addiction or an attachment to these things because it helps you feel in control of your journey and yourself. But that is absolutely not surrender. So you're going to want to stop doing that. Okay, number four, if you're still expecting union with the person you believe to be your twin, which union in itself, physical union, is a condition, then you are not surrendered. Now, this is one I struggled with a little bit because it's like, well, how do I manifest it while also surrendering to it, right? And I think for me, the surrender point has always been that the universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it, they're in control and I am surrendered to wherever they take me on my path, whether it's with, any of the people that I've been connected to. So I think that's the best way to have no expectations or no conditions associated with the love you have for your twin, is that the love you have for your twin will exist no matter what, even if they're not in your physical reality, even if you have no physical union with that specific person, right? If God, spirit, universe has a different path for you, you are surrendered when you are open to all potentialities on that path. That one took me a while as well. Okay, number five, if your twin's behavior is still triggering you, then you are not fully surrendered. So this is an interesting one and I couldn't figure out how to phrase it, but basically you get to a place on your journey where their behavior, your twin's behavior, although it hurts you, you don't spiral out the way that it used to, right? Like the best way I can describe this is their behavior will still bug you or you wish that they wouldn't behave that way. But at the same time, you have such an understanding of why they're behaving that way. And you're surrendered to the fact that they're on their own journey learning through it. And that their behavior is teaching you something about yourself. That the whole experience is not triggering anymore. It's more just like, I understand. So yeah, if you are not in that place yet, you will definitely get there. Just keep keep healing and keep going, because it is a beautiful place when you get there. Number 6, if you're still attached to the idea that all twins end up together, then you're not surrendered. This one is probably controversial because I just really don't believe that any of us know at all. Like, how can we expect to know when, like, this is such a new phenomenon, new to all of us, rather. It's definitely not new, but the twin flame relationship, the masculine and feminine energy, has existed for, and the union of the two has existed for eternity. But now that we all have experiences that are being documented and we can all find them, that is when we all start attaching to stories and narratives and whatever. But the universe is ever evolving. Our planet, our species is ever evolving on purpose. Therefore, I feel as though any attachment to a narrative at all, that is a form of control. It's a form of our mind trying to make sense of an experience that, we may be participating in or we've heard of, and that in itself is a form of control. So come back to surrender and know that, just because a bunch of twins back in the day, I'm making this up, but if a bunch of twins back in the day they all came into union, physical union, there's still a possibility and potentiality that our current place on Earth and in our universe would call for twins to have a different mission, right? None of us know. None of us know the truth. We all have slivers of it. So we need to be working together to grab those slivers and put together, a bigger picture for our collective. So again, if you're attached to any ideas, but specifically ones about you and your twin ending up together in a physical union, that is a condition that you're attaching to, the condition being a physical relationship in the 3D. That's conditional love. You will love this twin even when you don't have a physical relationship with them. And when you can get to that place of acceptance, that's true surrender and just following your path. Okay, number 7, if you are resisting the changes that you need to make within your own life or the changes you need to make within yourself, then you are not surrendered. So if you have things in your life, which I know you do if you're a true twin, your life is crumbling. It feels that way. Your emotions are crumbling. Like, you don't even understand what you're feeling or thinking. And by the way, my heart goes out to you because I was there. It's not funny and it's not easy. But if you are resisting making the changes that you are being guided to make, that's resistance, which is a form of control, which means you're not in surrender. So that is number 7. Number 8, if you're still watching twin flame videos all the time, as a true twin flame, right? Like, just to feel a part of community or something. If you're still watching twin videos all the time, stop. You are not surrendered. You may think that the more information you have, the more prepared you're going to be, or the more information you have, the more control you have over your experience or of what happens next, right? Stop. You're not surrendered, but I understand what you're doing. So just stop. Including my videos, right? If you're focused on, number 9. I'm bad with the numbers. If you're focused on the other person returning to bring you happiness into your life, then you are not surrendered. I'm going to say that again. If you're focused on the other person returning in order to bring you happiness into your life, then you are not surrendered. That flowed a little bit better. So that was number 9. Essentially what this is saying is that you need to supply yourself with your own joy and happiness. You need to love yourself enough to be content, happy, and joyful in your own life, no matter what your life looks like, which is very hard sometimes, trust me, I know. But you are truly surrendered when you are in full acceptance of your life, the situation that you're in, and you're not seeking anything external of you to come in to save you or supply happiness for you. When you are content, happy, joyful in the present moment, no matter the circumstances, that is true surrender, right? It's very hard to get there sometimes, I know, but when you're in the flow of life and trusting it, that the next step will present itself and that there's nothing that you can do right now to change it other than the small steps that you're guided to take. True surrender is that moment where you can be content and accept that that's where we're at. So that was number 9. And the last one, number 10, you will come in and out of a surrendered state, but it is your responsibility to bring yourself back. Okay? And I mentioned this a little bit, but it cycles, right? Like all of a sudden something will change where, let's say you and your twin are no longer talking and you have to now surrender to that, right? Then fast forward, you lose your job or whatever it is. Now you have to surrender to that state. It's a process. Be gentle with yourself. The deeper into the journey you get, the deeper into surrender you will get, the easier it will be for you to get back there. But you'll always kind of hop in and hop back, or hop out and then hop back in. You'll cycle through moments where you'll have to recognize in yourself, and I still do this all the time, where I'm like overthinking things, and then I find myself being like, oh, well, I'm wasting a lot of energy overthinking a bunch of stuff that, like, I'm making stories up in my head right now. So come back to surrender, flow with the present moment, and let life present itself, and trust yourself that you will know what to do in that moment when the moment arises, right? So the kind of last thoughts that I have on this, I wrote, if you're trying to predict what is to come, or if you're stuck thinking about the past, you aren't surrendered. So I said that a little bit at the beginning, but it's very important. And then also, one of the tips that I would give on the twin flame journey to get back into surrender is that your twin is an extension of you. Your twin is an extension of God, right? Like your soul, your energy, right? Your soul frequency. They are an extension of you. They are an extension of God, universe, spirit, however you feel comfortable. So in those moments, no matter what their behavior is, it's showing you something. It's acknowledging that this is a process that is divinely guided, right? And that really helped me get into a state of surrender quicker towards the end of my journey, is even when my twin's behavior, I would view it as not the best, like, to put it mildly, right? I still was able to look at him with compassion and empathy and be like, my heart breaks for where he's at in this moment, but I accept it, and I'm able to have that behavior mirror to me what I need to heal, and I accept that. And then it brings you back to surrender into the current state, and then you just focus on your healing again, right? It takes a lot of time, energy, and patience to get there. So if you need help, I'm here. But yeah, these are some tips or things that I thought would be relevant and helpful if you guys are also struggling with kind of coming in and out of surrender, whether it be with your twin or different parts of your spiritual path. The feeling is the same. Surrender and kind of being present, all of that is the same. It is, even if you're not on the twin flame journey. Twin flame journey adds some complexities energetically, but surrender is, it's difficult for all of us to get to because we're also used to trying to control everything. So be gentle with yourself. We all struggle through this or have to work through it, and it is difficult, but you will get there. Keep I would say discipline is the best advice I have, because you are creating your own agony and you are perpetuating it the longer that you do not work on getting back to surrender. So yeah, that is where, sorry, this shut off my screen. That is what I got for you guys today. I hope this was helpful. I appreciate you guys all so much. Comment any thoughts that you have, any additional tips that you guys have, so we can kind of share them together. And then yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Thank you so much for subscribing. And if you're watching this and not subscribed, subscribe. Follow along the journey with all of us. And I'm super, super grateful that I found you today. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.